Okay, so this one is called Side Bitch Number 2. For the simple fact that this was when I found out that I was a side bitch. Whew, I was so hurt. Like, I had no clue, swear. So this was my sophomore year in high school. My freshman year, I spent most of my time at early college, so I didn't really see a lot of people. So I say that because, you see somebody with somebody all the time and like, oh, they're a couple or they're best friends or whatever. Like, I was never really at the high school that I went to. I was at the community college in my city, and I would get dropped off after school, and I would leave from the high school to the community college. Like, I would be there all day, so I didn't really have a sense of who was with who. So I really, I know side bitches be like, oh, I didn't know, and really be kind of knowing, no, I really did not know. So my sophomore year, it was like my first day, I got lost because the classroom that I went in, they said that I wasn't on the list. And so I'm out in the hallway, and I'm looking at my schedule, trying to make sure, where I'm going next. Like, are you sure? Looking at my schedule, okay. So I stopped in the lunchroom, and this guy comes up to me, this tall, light-skinned dude. He cute. I mean, I'm not really oh, damn, but because, I'm focused, and I wasn't really super into dudes and all that, back then, at that time. So he's like, what you doing? Where you going? What you up to? What's your name? All of that. So, I'm Alicia, I'm looking for my class, blah, blah, blah. I was going to go to the office. And he's like, oh, okay, da-da-da. I'm da-da-da. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. And, he's all cheesing and everything. And I'm cheesing. And I kind of and we kind of part ways after that. It was nothing huge. It was just kind of a meet and greet. So I ended up going to the office and found my class. Boom, boom, boom. So a couple days later, I'm in the gym, and I'm shooting around with my best friend, Brittany. So we shooting around, and up comes this dude, and he's shooting at our basket now, and he's talking to Brittany, and Brittany's talking to him, and I'm kind of looking at them oh, so they know each other. I had no idea. So Brittany and I end up going into the locker room, and I tell her, oh, that's that dude that I told you about the other day, da-da-da. And she's like, oh, him, for real? Are you talking about da-da-da? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, he fine, right? She's like, I mean, he's okay. I was kind of you ain't got to be attracted to him. I'm attracted to him. So she's like, okay, cool. That's what you like. So we end up, freshening up or whatever, because it was hella niggas out there in the, on the basketball court. It was getting packed. So we come back out, and we're shooting around. And now he's over there talking to Brittany's brother, her older brother, and I'm kind of putting it together oh, that's a friend of the family, they know him. And this entire time I did not know him, and I've been friends with her for a while. So he came over, and he was talking a little bit to me, and then they end up leaving. So it had to be that night or the next night. I was in Brittany's room, and I was chilling, and her older brother comes to the door, and he's knocking, he announces himself. For some reason, her older brother made me so nervous. I don't know. He just made me nervous. So when he opened the door to come in the room, I just looked down, at my phone, I'm doing something when I'm not. I don't know. It wasn't a crush thing. He made me nervous. So he come in, he's talking to Brittany, and then after he's done talking to her, he just lingering around, and she kind of what? What do you want? And then he's like, I know somebody that wants you. And Brittany who? And he's like, no, you. And I look up me? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, who? And he's like, da-da-da-da. And I was like, what? And Brittany's like, yeah, the dude, this is that you was just talking about him. And I was like, oh, okay. I mean, all right, cool. So he's like, yeah, you want his number? So he gives me his number. And after that, that night, the next day, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day, for a while, he and I were just texting back and forth, all night and all day. I ended up starting to go to his football games, and then he was like, he would meet me in the hallway. Like, can you meet me in the hallway? Da da da. In between classes, and we would meet. But I never really saw him in school, like around the school. It was like he was a solar eclipse. Like I, like very seldomly saw him walking around. Like I would have to like plan to meet him somewhere, and then I would see him. But any other time I would see him, it would be a situation where it was kind of like he would be down the hall, and I would like say his name, and he would act like he didn't hear me. And I didn't really like that. That was a little skep, but at the time I was just kind of like I would text him like, "What's up?" Like, you didn't hear me talking to you, and he'd be like, "What? Where were you? Oh my gosh, babe, I'm sorry." So it was kind of like that. So I didn't really think much of it. So time passed, and it was getting ready to be like homecoming time, and he said something about homecoming, but he never really asked me to go. He was kind of like, "Are you going to homecoming?" And I was like, "I didn't think so. I hadn't planned on it. Why? What's up?" And he was like, "You should go." And I was just like, "Why?" Like, and he was like, "'Cause I'm going." I'm like, "Okay, so are we going stag?" Like, I'm confused. And so I left it alone. But every now and again, he would ask me, like, "Are you going to homecoming?" And I'd be like, "Why?" And he'd be like, "You should go, because I'm going." And I'm kind of like, I don't know what to think about that. You're not really asking me. It was just weird. So I had an opportunity to get clothes and stuff like that for homecoming. Like, I went shopping with my cousin, but I ended up not going because I was just, I don't know. I just didn't feel right about it. And I wasn't really big on dancing and putting on dresses and all that anyway. So I left that alone, and I did end up going. But by this time, he and I are like, we're pretty much almost dating. Like, in my eyes, that is a boyfriend-girlfriend situation. Like, we're babe and babe this and babe that, and I love you too, blah, blah. So I'm not really tripping. He said he was going with some friends, so I was just like, whatever, that's cool. Like, text me when you get done. And it's like a couple of nights before homecoming, and he's talking about homecoming again. And my brother just busts in my room door. Like, we were on the phone. My brother just busts in my room door, and he's like, "Who are you talking to? Who's that on the phone? Get off the phone." And I was like, "Why? Like, what? What's the problem?" And he was like, "Get off the phone." And I'm like, it's such and such. And he's like, "Yeah, get off the phone with him." And I was just like, "Hey, can you hold on real quick?" He was like, "Yeah, that's fine." So I go downstairs. I don't even think phones had mute buttons back then. Like, these was phones with like the A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, like on the button. So I don't even think we had mute. So I just kind of put the phone down, and I got up and I went downstairs to my brother's room. And he was just kind of like, "Why are you talking to him? Don't you know he's got a girlfriend? Blah, blah, blah." And I was like, "Absolutely not. Like, I would never do nothing like that. That's not how I am." And he's like, "Okay, so that's what I thought. You didn't know he had a girlfriend. Well, now you do." And I was like, "Really?" And he's like, "Yeah." So he's like, "Yeah, and they're going to homecoming together." And I was like, "Oh, no wonder he didn't ask me to homecoming, because he's already gone with somebody." So I'm like, why would he even tell me to go? Like, that's embarrassing. That's setting me up for the woo. So I go back upstairs, and I get back on the phone, and he's not on the phone. He done hung up now. So I'm like, that's a little skep too, that he just gonna hang up, because he heard my brother. I know he heard me say, "I'm talking to blah, blah, blah." He heard his name. So he must have felt like he was caught up. Maybe he thought my brother was gonna keep quiet. I don't know. Like, so I call him back a couple times, and he rejects my call. And I'm just kind of like, okay, I'm gonna call him back. So I call again, and he picks up like, "Hello?" I'm like, "Yeah, like, what happened, you know?" He's like, "Oh, my bad, blah, blah, blah. I had to do something, this is that." I'm like, "Okay, cool. So why you didn't tell me that you had a girl?" And he was like, "I don't have a girlfriend. I don't." Like, he was highly offended. "I do not have a girlfriend. Me and her broke up a while ago, blah, blah, blah." And I was like, "Oh, yeah?" And he was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "But y'all are going to homecoming." And he was like, "Yeah, we're going to homecoming, but it was just because she came to my house late at night one night, and a few nights ago, and she was crying. Like, babe, she was crying. And she asked me if I would still go to homecoming with her, because we already picked our stuff out, and she didn't want to look stupid. And I just didn't, I mean, we're not together no more, but I still care about her." And like this guy sounds like he's on the verge of crying. Now, I don't know if it's like him like early on in my life, people like him who really made me like not feel bad for people when they cry. But now, like when people cry, I just like laugh. It's just funny to me now. It's like, okay, you're crying and what? Because like at that time, I really did feel bad because I was like, okay, he's really sad, and I'm like being mean. So I kind of dropped it and left it alone. But by the time homecoming came around, like that night, I was not really on him no more. I think I'd seen him in the hallway with her a couple of times, like walking to class, and I've like tried to speak to him. He didn't say nothing, and I had to put it all together for myself, and it was fairly embarrassing. So I just left it alone. And by that homecoming night, like we were texting every now and again, but I wasn't really messing with him like that no more. So homecoming night, my cousin ended up calling me and texting me, ends up giving me this number to one of her friends who like, yeah, that like me and him was like cool. Like, so I'm like, basically I dropped this dude and then I get like pick up a nice guy, and I felt like super lucky. Like, but I mean, the guy that she gave me his number, he was like a mad like super flirt, and we ended up dating, but it didn't really last that long, just for the simple fact that he was a flirt, and it was like constant rumors about him. So time goes by, he and I end up breaking up. This new guy, I stopped talking to the other dude too for a while, and then time goes by and me and this guy are dating, and now like we end up breaking up before track season. So he ends up getting back with his ex-girlfriend, and that guy, we end up seeing each other around again, and he's like, text me, blah, 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 like, me and old girl aren't together anymore, like, I promise, I swear, this and that, you can ask her if you want to. And I was just kind of like, whatever, like, just trying to bounce back, I guess, I don't know. And he and I ended up texting again. So it gets to the point to where it's like, we're not meeting in the hallways anymore to hug. Like, we're meeting like in the upper gym and off to the side and off in the corner, because he wants to kiss now. Like, he wants to take it further. Like, I literally had my V card this whole time. Like, he and I were talking. So he would just see what he can do. So we're meeting in the upper gym and making out and sneaking back to class. Like, on some, like, I don't know, just some little kid sneaky stuff. And then I'm in class one day, and I think I seen him with this chick again, like his girl that he was supposedly broken up with. And I'm just kind of like, you got me messed up, like, again, like, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. So I'm just like, fuck it, like, you know. So I'm texting him, and we're arguing, and you know when you arguing with somebody, you just texting a bunch of buttons, you just trying to get it. I told y'all these was in the letters was A, B, C, D, E, and I was struggling. I'm in class, like, about to get in trouble because I'm texting this dude with all these clicky clacks, and this chick, like Courtney, like comes up to me and she's like, who are you talking to? And I was like, it doesn't really matter. And she's like, are you talking to by any chance da-da-da? And I was like, yeah, how you know? And she was like, well, I seen you talking to him a few times. Yeah, he be texting me too. And I was like, what? He be texting you? Yeah, look. So she shows me the text messages of him calling her babe and him saying he loved her and all of this. And I'm just looking at him like, I'm looking at these messages like, is this the same person? We talking about the same person? And she's like, yeah, those are the tall one with pigeon toe feet. And I'm like, man, what? So I'm going off. She's going off. We're both livid. We both get up, leave the classroom on like a bathroom pass, and she's like, I know what class he's in right now. So he turns out he's in gym. We get up and we go down to the gym, and we on a mission, boy. We about to call him out on his shit. So we get in the gym, and he sees us both together, and he ends up like looking like, oh shit, like this is some John Tucker Must Die type shit. So he sees us together, and he just instantly like goes to get his like teacher or whatever, and his teacher comes up with him, and he's like, what's up, like what's going on, what are you guys doing here? And we just started talking like, I don't care, the teacher there, like. So we started talking like, yeah, so you texting her and you texting me and everybody texting everybody, like, what's up? Like, you talking about you meeting her up in the upper gym, like, what is y'all doing? Like, now this chick she cool, don't get me wrong, but she was a little more advanced in the activities than I was. Like, he and I are like making out and like groping. Like, her and him was probably doing like the dude like up in the upper gym. So I'm really upset for the simple fact that it's kind of like I thought he was waiting on me this whole time, and he's just really been getting it from her. And so we going off on him, and then his little teacher like shuts it down like, oh, well, y'all need to chill out, and this is not the place for it, this is not the time for it. So he walks us over to the office, the principal's office, not the principal's office, but his office, which is not even a real office. It's a little office in a cut. Like, and he has to sit down at this table. And we're sitting there waiting for him to come back. And the dude, he like lets him go back to gym class. We like he a victim or something. So we like, what? Are we in trouble? So we're sitting there, and then another one of the guy's coaches comes out, and he's like, what is it that you guys want? And we're just kind of like, this is snag. He's talking to both of us. We just calling him out on his bullshit, blah, 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 blah. And he was like, well, he says that he's not interested in either of you. He's actually trying to be with Ashley. I was like, what? And the girl was like, what? Ashley who? And he's like, Ashley, blah, blah, blah. And we was like, we look at each other like, oh, you know what? Go ahead. They deserve each other. Because, like, now I told you that other chick, Courtney, she's more advanced than me at this time. I'm a sophomore. Like, we're all sophomores. This other chick was like a freshman in high school 1. And the dude was like a senior. And this chick was like way more experienced than me and Courtney put together. Like, she was a lot. Like, she had a lot going for herself in that area. So we was just kind of like, yeah, good luck with that. So basically, it turned out he had a girl because he still was dating that chick. Like, everybody said he wasn't. He said he wasn't. But we all found out later on that he was still dating that chick. He had a girl. He had me. He had Courtney. And he had Ashley. All in one. So I was not the side chick. Like, I was the side chick of the side chick of the side chick. Like, it was too much side chicking going on. And I was just kind of like, woo, dodge that bullet. But unfortunately, this guy actually pops up later on in my book in a whole nother story. Like, years later, like 5 years, 7 years down the line. And same old, but you had to read about it. So thanks for watching. That was my story about how I found out I was a side bitch. So yeah.